Trust the profits. It's the formula here, also known as the formula, and it is Riders Up Tim here, also known as Riders Up. Riders Up Tim, how you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. Great weather in Kentucky. Finally, we're getting all that wet stuff
Nice.
out of here. But more importantly, we are 10 days from the Kentucky Derby. It doesn't feel like Derby around here because of all the rain. We canceled Thunder, but
Yeah.
all of the Derby festivities are starting up here in the next couple of days. And now is when here in the Louisville area, things get real and it starts to, get that little tingle up and down the spine. I'm ready. 151st running. Let's go.
Yeah, I don't know what it feels like in Derby Town when the Derby is coming. All I can expect to compare it to is when I used to live in New Orleans and Mardi Gras was around the corner. And you get those few days before actual Mardi Gras, like the real big parades and whatnot. I imagine that's kind of the feeling you get with the Kentucky Derby. So we are here for episode 4 of Mortal Kappers. That's right. The sensation, the handicapping sensation that's sweeping the nation, known as Mortal Kappers. Last time, poor El Hombre didn't know what he was getting into. I will say, neither one of us was spectacular, but I was just a little bit better than him. The bet that I had that ended up putting me over was one that I was hoping would be quite a bit higher. I think the public got to a few horses such as Extra Ñejo and ruined the prospects of me hitting a monster trifecta. But same time, I got the trifecta and it got me past El Hombre for a victory, which means in 3 attempts, I have 2 wins. I'm putting Wolf of Oak Lawn above me because so far he is batting 100%, 1 for 1. I got to hand it off to the guy. He did pretty well. I got Sniper, El Hombre below him, and Riders Up Tim entering into the scoreboard here. So we'll see what happens. 0 matches so far, but that's going to change after today. And we are, of course, talking about the Churchill Downs Saturday card, the handoff from Keeneland to Churchill Downs. We're going to be going through all 10 races, or all 10 races are what we have in store for us. Maybe we play them all, maybe we don't. What are the rules? There are no rules, except for these rules right here. You may provide your own Mortal Kappers avatar. If you don't have one, the court will appoint you one, but look out because we might have fun with it. Each participant will have $100 to play with, and they must deplete all of that, throw a show on $1 if you have to at the very end. Have fun with it. Place any wager type you want across any race. And yeah, that's really what it is. You can do a pick 5 if you want to. If a horse is scratched, standard rules, you get a refund back. If you can still play out something like an exacta or trifecta based on the horses left, we will let that play out and you'll get a refund for a portion. If you're doing a horizontal and something gets scratched, you get the post time favorite, which is the rule across most tracks. Once we record, the bets are locked in. There will be no changers. The winners, whoever accumulates the most shrewd bucks, including refunds, by the end of the card, the winner gets to post a finishing move. Tim, I hope you're getting finishing moves ready, but not too ready.
Well, you did you say Shroot Bucks?
I did.
This is a Shroot Buck.
That's what we're playing with, guys, because I hate the word mythical when people use it and talking about like fantasy dollars. So, all right, Tim, I'm going to pretend I'm holding up 2 tokens now. And now we get ready to play Mortal Kappers.
Mortal Kappers. Round 1. The formula versus Riders Up. Fight!
All right, Tim, I will start us off. I do like to take down race 1. It's been good to me a couple times. So I like to get started here. Last couple times I've gone through with a trifecta box or trifecta key box. And I didn't do that this time because 2 horses really stuck out to me, Hoodlum and Synthesis, in this 8 furlong dirt claimer. They're not great value here. You're getting 3-1 on Hoodlum and 7-2 on Synthesis. So we're talking chalk here. But I thought I'd lean into the chalk. So Hoodlum in 10 races, 3 wins, 7 times in the money. I love his numbers. I think he has the best speed figures at Churchill Downs among this group. He runs the distance really well. The best horse at the distance is Synthesis. So I think these 2 pair up pretty nicely. I like where they sit, how well they close. everything really paired out nicely for me here. You get Irad on the horse that I think is going to come in second, Luis Sayas on the horse that I think is going to come in first. That plays out for me. The 8-horse Hoodlum is coming down in terms of class. He just got done with a 100K and 130K race, bounced into a 1800 optional claimer, and now he's bumping up just a little bit to this one. I think we're in a good spot here with these 2 horses. I'm not sure if you came in with any specific opinions whatsoever.
Yeah, I didn't obviously bet this race, but that's my exact pick, 8-7.
Excellent. Yeah, I've decided to box, even though I'm placing a large win bet on Hoodlum here at $10 to win. But I figured if there's something that happens here and Irad screws me over and decides he's going to win the first race out, so be it. As long as Hoodlum's underneath, I will take it. So moving on to race 2, and it's me again. This is a race here where I did feel pretty strongly. We got a 7-horse allowance optional claimer, 114K purse on turf for 8 furlongs. The horse I thought was the best by far was Mission of Joy. He's currently at 9-5, so we're talking chalk here. I thought this was a good opportunity to single him, right? We were talking before. If you get a horse that or if you get races where you think you've got chalk, what are the things that you can do with it, right? And we both thought that about this whole card. Really, there were a lot of chalky opportunities out there, and one of the things you can do is if you can spot something by jumping from race to race. If you think you've got a single, place that single and then move on to the next race and try to find yourself some value. So Mission of Joy here. Once again, I love his numbers at the park itself. He's dropping down in value. I almost didn't play him because he's been 203 days without a race, but then every other horse around him was like 191 days without a race, 169 days without a race. There were some that were 30 and 50, and I didn't like them as much. So I thought everybody is more or less been off for a while. He comes in, and this is a good position for him here. So I decided, okay, Mission of Joy. I'm not thrilled with the layoff, but all things considered, everyone else is sort of starting up as well. Then we move on to race 2. So my philosophy in race 2 is pretty simple. I looked at horses 1 through 5, and I saw pace. And I think the 3 horse is definitely going to be setting the pace, but man, 1, 2, 4, and 5, I think are really going to get in his ear. It is a short race, but it's not super short. It's that weird 7 furlong race. It's on dirt. And one of the better horses here is a closer. That's the 7 horse who I've got up to bat first for me. He usually comes from about 3 tiers back. The other 2 horses I've got boxed in here come about 2 tiers back. But yeah, that 7 is 5-2. So that's my cheap play here. If this goes out chalk with 5 and 7, I probably don't get a whole lot of payback here, but I might get something. So I'm really hoping that I get the 5 Beach Bunny coming back. That would be nice. And Big Dig at 4-1. I wouldn't mind that either. I mean, it's not an expensive play, $4 daily double. So I'm multiplying it times 4. We'll see what happens at $12. Any thoughts on this one, Tim?
Yeah, I mean, I would try to beat the 7 in that race as far as the way that I handicapped it. The horse that I landed on in here that I really like is the 3 horse. I just thought that that debut up at Turfway was really solid, going 6 furlongs and drawing off by 8 3/4 lengths in that race, and really not really asked to do a whole lot. So they bring her down here, and obviously it's a little bit of a step up here.
It is.
Picking up Luan. Luan's riding really well at Keeneland here at the very end. So he's been on fire a little bit. So I'm going to give that one a shot for sure.
Yeah, I went against the 3. I totally get your philosophy because my numbers are telling me, hey, the 3 looks really darn good. But then I have to take a look. Well, the 3's coming off 1 race, 1 win. It was, as you said, it was at Turfway. So it's on the Tapeta. I said it right that time. And it is a step up in class, as you mentioned, right? So I'm thinking that horse is going to come out like, hair on fire. The other horses are going to try to keep up. So I'm going to try to beat race 3 with closers. And yes, by the way, I do want to note that I did have a typo there. This should be race 2, the 5, and race 3, 7, 6, and 8. All right. So let's move on.
Get over here!
Always fun. Always fun. All right. So then we've got this. Whole bunch of nothing going on in race 3, unless you count what I did for my next leg. And now, riders up, Tim, you get to talk.
Exactly. So, first couple of races, I looked at where I had my stronger opinions, and even though I agreed with you in the first race, I thought races 2 and 3 both. I was trying to beat favorites in there, and when I'm trying to beat somebody, it's because I typically find a chink in the armor. So. I landed here with my first strong opinion, so this is where I want to go. And you can see I'm gonna do a trifecta key play in here, and I'm keying the 6. The 6, unfortunately, is going to be the chalk in here, but I think this horse is, although coming off a pretty long layoff, has a really solid pattern of works there if you look at him, and was working up at Turfway on the synthetic, but then moved down here as Drury came down and to Churchill. Has got 2 works over the tracks, that Bullet on the 4th of April. I just think that the numbers for this horse, you look at that last race, can sit just off the pace, which is a running style that I like for Churchill, with that long stretch there at Churchill. People don't realize how long that stretch is. So I prefer somebody a little bit off the pace, although speed can win. So I'm going to take that one on top, and then I was looking for a little bit of a price underneath. So when you look at 1, 3, and 4 there, obviously the 1 and 3 are pretty chalky, but I think this 4 might have a chance to get in the money. Does have ran back in January at Oakland, and then took a little bit of a break and came back in March. Showed some early speed in that particular race. And the thing is that the track that day, if you look at the form in both of those last 2 races, was setting up for closers, and this horse was on the front end. So one that I think can be on the front end here and maybe hold on for a piece here. So I'm looking for that to possibly happen and get me a price. So I'm going to key the try, and I'm going to play it for $2 here. Just keying the 6 on top because I like the 6 so much with 1, 3, and 4. And it looks like you like the 6 as well.
I do. And the four that you brought up is a class riser, right? So this is a horse that was racing down in like 24K, and then bumped up to like 30K, and then 56, and then ran in 230K races. So slowly growing, and has 3 wins and 8 races. Definitely a dangerous one there. So I like that play a lot of pumping him in there and hoping you get a price somewhere. But like you, I look at the 6 repeats of last week, right? I see 325 days off. A little scary, but then I look at 2 of the other better horses, and they're at 240 days off. So I think, just like last race, okay, not so bad. Maybe we're all sort of in this boat together where we're getting back into it. Had some great workouts. Last workout was a 48-second half mile. I'll take that. And the horse, for me, has the best numbers for the distance, the best numbers for the surface, the best numbers for the park. 100% of the time in the money, 1 win in those 3 races. I mean, it gets pretty much every grade I can give it. It rated tops for me. So 2 to 1. Yeah. Okay. I'm good with that. And then I turn the page to race 5 here. I've got race 4, race 2. I'm all over the place with my names. You know what I was going for here.
I did.
Race 4 to race 5. I took a few different horses here. My top horse is Corolo Rapido. I'm sure you'll have better pronunciation on that than I will. And I'm also taking a chance with Patrolman, the 3 horse, Our Dream Ride, getting 5 to 1 there. And then the 9 horse. This is the one I'm really hoping to swing for the fences for. This is a horse that in 10 races, 5 times in the money, 2 wins. I really like the way this horse looked at Turfway Park. We got a few Turfway Park shippers here. This one, what else did I like about this? 8.5 furlongs on dirt, a little bit of a closer here. I'm really hoping at 20 to 1, I'm getting a price, and maybe this is one of those races where we see some sort of pop. We've got this pace setter at the 6 in there. Maybe something happens and I pick up something off that 9. But yeah, that's where I'm at on my daily double here that I set up. Singling the 6, as you both said, we both said 2-1. We really dig the 6 in that race, trying to score something underneath in race 5. All right,
I like it.
moving on. Go ahead. You got Carolo Rapido as well.
Yeah, and you talked about this one, obviously having this one in your double, and I totally agree. This is my top pick here. I love the 4 in this race. When you look, I think we've got at least 2, 6 in the 6 in the 7 for sure, and maybe even another horse that wants to go with them in the 9. Maybe showing a little bit of early speed, has in the past, but those 2 for sure. And the 4 is definitely going to sit mid pack the way I see it. And this is the one that has the best late closing kick. And I just thought that when I looked at this, I loved the 4 on top. So then I start handicapping the rest of the race, and I looked, and obviously the 4 has been running against much better. And you look at what that horse has raced against. I think it's a drop down here for sure.
Yeah.
Dropping into the claiming ranks. And this horse ran in the Louisiana Super Derby back in September. So obviously was well thought of. So it should be able to handle this group here. So I love the 4 on top. And then when I started looking at what to put underneath, I couldn't get past the 6. And I think it might be chalky, but I'm just going to hit this exacta hard. And that's why I played a $10 exacta here, play it straight up, because I think it is the 4, but then I landed on the 6, and I do think the 6 goes out for part of the early lead, but I think the 7's more likely to get the lead over that one. And at least that's the way I saw it. So I think the 6 can hold on for a piece here. I like the connections a little better, getting Corrales up. He didn't ride this one the last time out, but he's ridden the horse a couple of times. If you look, one of those back in November here at Churchill, and this horse is 3 out of 5 in the money at Churchill. So big reason I like the horse underneath. And then after that one, I thought it got kind of muddy. I did have your 5 Patrolman next, but it just started falling apart for me. So rather than try to throw a trifecta together or anything else, I thought it was clearly 4, 6, the 2 best, and I'm just going to play that in an exacta.
Excellent. Yeah, with the 6, I did have him as the early speed, but as I look at the 7 was a pace setter in a ton of races that he's been in. I would say like 60-70% of the time he's been the pace setter. So there could be something to the 7 there. They might get into a bit of a speed duel, and if the 6 sticks around and the 7 falls behind, Carolo Rapido takes the lead at the end there. I think both of us would be pretty happy with Carolo Rapido being in the lead. I did do a tri-key box. I'm fine if he finishes 2nd or 3rd. As mentioned before, I got Patrolman, Our Dream Ride, and Succession Gold. So as I was going through the past performances on Succession Gold, and granted, he was running down in Turfway, he was running at Belterra. He's got a couple races where he actually went 1 mile and a 16th. So in December at Turfway Park, a closer, he finished 2nd place by a nose in that race, right? And then if you go back to Belterra in August 2024, finished 1st place by a head in that one. I see a pattern here when he gets some of these deep races, and also in terms of his claiming as well, where he's sort of bouncing back and forth between different trainers here. And it seems like when a good trainer finds him, he gets him pretty close. 3rd place, 2nd place on these miles, getting pretty close with a mile and 8 and 16th. So yeah, that's why I'm throwing him in here as my last horse at 20-1. I don't mind taking a risk on Succession Gold.
Makes sense.
All right, so I got my tri-key box there, and then throw in some fun stuff. Always fun. All right, race 6.
Yeah, I'm honestly a little bit surprised that you're not in this race, and I like it. I like it a lot.
Taking advantage.
This is a race that I've got a pretty strong opinion on, and I'll talk about the 3 holster here. So 13th of April, if you look at the date there, Keeneland. So they're bringing this horse back pretty quickly. That $100,000 maiden race at Keeneland, that came up pretty tough, and this horse was right there, just a neck behind in third, and then a length behind in the stretch, and finished up 3 3/4 back at 7 furlongs. So probably like the 6.5 a little bit better. Should move forward off of that one. That was a really strong race, though, that El Magnifico won in that particular day, and saw that race. Really like again, Saya's getting up here, and I just think that the speed figure, if you look at that last race at 75, that kind of towers over this entire field. So
Okay.
I just think that this horse is a pretty good top pick. So I'm going to key this one on top, and then underneath that one, I've gone with the 2 Shadow Coast with Saya's up, the big brother of the one I like, and then
Yeah.
Tapakena, the 4 horse here, is another one that I think second off a layoff could move forward for Brian Lynch. And the thing that I really like is that 20 April Bullet there, 59-1. But I more of an underneath play, but I think there's a lot to like there, and something to keep that I'll be watching that day to see if I change up anything the way I'm playing it. And then my price horse is the 9 here. When you look at this one, went 1 mile and a 16th last time out, so we're going route to sprint now, and showed a good early speed there, and should move forward on the cutback. And again, here's another one that if you look, that was the 12th of March, and if you look back on the 21st of February, had a good 47-3, and has worked twice since here at Churchill, and back-to-back 47s and change again, really high in all of the workouts for the day. So this is another one that I think 10-1 with Luan up. Take a flyer on this one as a possible underneath pick. So I'm going to see if I can at least get that 3 in there. I did, keep the 3 on top. So I want that one to win. And I really feel strongly about that. That was one of my stronger opinions for the day. So I'm just going to key it on top and hope I have the underneath play. Yeah. Maidens are something that I just, sometimes I just see things I like a lot, and that doesn't mean I'm always right, but that's where I have a lot of success, because I do things like this to where you just take a stand with the horse and bet with conviction and go with it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because you went pretty hard at this race. You said you had a lot of conviction on Holster. I've got him as my number 3 horse, actually, and the 2 horses I have above him you didn't even include in here. And maybe that's part of the reason I didn't play this, is because I had a little bit of, I had some conflicting feelings on this race. For whatever reason, I couldn't put it together. I had the 10 and the 11 as my top 2 horses. And then I started peeling the onion, and I was looking at like the 10, the 11, the 3, the 4. And by the time I put those together, I'm like, well, I'm just picking pretty much the chalk here. And I didn't think that I could put together a valuable trifecta, which is why I didn't go with this race. There are other horses in here that I was looking at, but I couldn't make, like you said, a strong enough conviction to say, okay, I'm going to include this one over this one. Like, of the 4 horses, it was difficult for me to peel one away and then add in the 5 horse, for example, Lemon Sohn, who has one of these indicators that I look for in maiden races. When they've raced a few times, are they getting closer to the pace? So that indicator went off for me with the 5 horse, Lemon Sohn. Sometimes that indicates you're going to find some value because they're getting pulled down by an early race that was horrible, and they're finding their way into where they should be. And soon they're going to show you that, okay, I can break my maiden. So that's my explanation for why I didn't play this one.
Well, and with the 5 there, I mean, the first 4 times out, they were on turf. So they went to dirt last time and went to sprinting from routing, and the horse kind of woke up a little bit. So definitely valid points there. Some of the things I look at, especially early here in the Churchill meet, and some of the connections and things are, some of the things that I'm looking for. It was kind of connections for a lot of those, and especially the 10 and the 11, the 10 more than the 11, but made those play against for me. So
I definitely see why you went with the 3 and 4.
This one's definitely a little bit of reach with a couple of those in there and keeping others out, but I really like the 3, and I'm just trying to catch something underneath here.
Got it. All right, we're moving on to race 7 here. This is a race where I had a bit of conviction, I guess you could say. I took a look at my sheet here, and for me, I had a hard time getting past the 4 and the 2. I didn't think I was going to make a whole lot off of this race one way or the other. I think both horses, I like the way the 2 runs, the distance and the surface. I like the way the 4 runs. I got him second to the 2 in terms of distance and service, but I've got him as being the best horse at Churchill. I'm trying to see if I can play that as an angle here, especially since it's the first day at Churchill. Horses coming in with familiarity, have done well here before. Let's see if we can lean into that. And we're getting a jockey upgrade on the 4 as well. Really, I do have the 4 as my top horse of the 2 at 4-1. I kind of like that. But I decided, okay, since I've got these 2 rated high, I think it's going to be chalky. I'm gonna do a $5 exacta box as opposed to doing something at like a minimum base price. So you got it. I'm doing $10 total, $5 exacta box with 2 and 4. All right.
Yeah, all that makes sense. The thing for me, I do have the 4 on top, but one thing that I wrote is I can make a case for 5 of these winning this race. And that's why I stayed away, because I thought the 2, 4, the 5, the 6, and the 8 all could be competitive, and I can tell you why that horse would win the race. So,
oh yeah, I could see it. You could have
I just thought it was really tough and said we'll skip this one.
Yeah, I decided to take a specific angle on this one. The other thing that I was looking at too is that this is a 10 furlong race. Yeah, 10 furlongs on dirt.
Yep.
And I like the 4 because the 4 actually has gone a distance greater than 9 furlongs.
Yep.
And I like the 2 because, yeah, I think, so on the surface and moving up towards 10 furlongs, I've got him as having the next highest score there.
Yeah, same reason. Even though I said I like 5 of them, I put the 4 on top because the 4 has raced at the distance and finished on the board.
Yeah, I put value in that once they get above 9 furlongs. Usually, there's
Absolutely.
a bit of a premium once you get really, really up there.
100%.
Okay, moving on to race 8. We're seeing a little bit of duplication of effort here. I'll let you start, Tim. I think we got a lot of the same thoughts on this one.
Yeah, when I looked at this one, you can see I'm going to key box the 1 here, and I'm going to key box the 1, which it looks like you're going to key box the 1 here. But I thought that this horse was probably had the biggest drop coming into this race. I mean, we're 50,000 non-winners at 2 Life, which I love those races.
You do.
But this horse is also dropping down from allowance class, and you look at the rest of these, and there is. I think a couple, 3 more or 4 more that are dropping down, but others coming out optional claimers, a couple straight out of their maiden win race. So when I broke it down and looked at everything, I just thought that that to me that horse was probably the best and the one that I wanted here on top. So I decided I would just go ahead and key box it. Even though I like it, I still think, especially with the big field and everything, I want to at least get a piece of something if I do get the 1 in. And I do think that the 1 with the way that it kind of spreads out here, it looks pretty like I've gone pretty chalky underneath with the 4, 8, and the 9. And I think I have a little bit, but if you look, the 1 is 7-2, and if you look at the rest of the morning line odds, I mean the 4 is 9-2, and then when you 4-1 and 5-1, so they're all kind of mid range, and I just think it's a kind of race to where the money's going to be spread. So these are races I really like trifectas in, big fields to where the money is spread, but the favorites still kind of stand out a little bit, and then the money gets spread, and people try to throw prices underneath and everything, and sometimes it's just those top 3 or 4 and pays well. So I thought if it does that and these horses come in, I want to make sure that I get a piece of that. But I definitely like that one on top. I like the 9 in here a lot. It's just this one's coming off a little bit of a layoff and may need a race. So why I put the 9 underneath. But I think the 4 is probably going to be the second favorite in here. Another one dropping down pretty well from the allowance class, and had a good race off the layoff here back in the first of the month at Keeneland. So I just think we can hit the horses pretty easily and still get paid here.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And I think we both looked at this race as a good way to, hey, there's a big spread here. We're looking at Irad getting the rail. And I think this horse has the best win, in my opinion, right? You're looking at
Absolutely.
best win in
100%.
terms of class and everything. There's a few others that have a more recent class drop, as you alluded to, but I think if I look across the board at 10 races, this is the classiest horse, in my opinion. Foley, Irad, sits pretty well near the pace, 8.5 furlongs on turf. I think he can hold it up. I don't necessarily think he needs to set the pace. He might, but I think there's probably going to be another horse or two that does. I hope he doesn't. I hope Irad doesn't get greedy on this one and try to go gate to wire. I think that would be bad, but I think he's going to have something towards the end here. Even if he doesn't, if he gets second or third, both you and I are set up with the trifecta key box to cash in on that.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I know I love what you said about it looks like the 8, 4, 9 are going to be chalky, but in a race that is this spread, there's a couple things that happen. Like some of these horses might crawl up a bit, right? You never know, because we've got how many horses entered in, like 16, 14. Obviously 2 are going to scratch, so we're going to have about a 12 horse field most likely. These things can float around a lot. One of these horses could float up into double digits for all we know, and then you never know what the trifecta pool is going to look like.
Exactly.
So this, even if it comes out looking quote unquote chalky, it could be $40 as chalk, but then it might not even be chalky. It could be an $80 trifecta, $70 trifecta. You never know. We both spent the same amount of money. You decided to double your bet, whereas I decided to add on one more horse. I love this camera getting blurry all of a sudden. That's always fun. I decided to, instead of heeding your advice, as you just said, I decided to lay off one more chalky horse. I've got the 4 in here. I've got the 8. But then I went for the 6 and the 11. So the 6, the reason I went with the 6, I like my own internal power figure numbers. I actually had this one as being a little bit higher on average than what you would expect. Plus, I like the closing number on this one a lot. Next to the 4, I have this one as the strongest closer. And yeah, that was the main reason I went with the 6 in here, and at 15-1. 15-1 on the 11 as well. Reason I went with this horse, I do like the Stuart Hernandez matching up here. This could be a horse that sits a little bit closer to the pace and could hang around for a percentage here. So I was just looking to see at which point I could grab value. 8.5 furlongs. That doesn't necessarily mean it has to be a closer. This is a horse that could end up just maintaining, getting third place, and 15-1 third place. I'm feeling a pretty good trifecta there if that happens.
Yeah, the 8 makes a lot of sense, and I just went against the
agreed.
8, with the first time on the turf angle, and for I just thought that the turf numbers looked a little bit lower for that one, and left that one out. But if anything, I'm sorry, the 11 is the one I was talking about that you put in that I really liked a little bit, and that one when it came to that one, I just thought the numbers were a little bit lower than everybody is going to have to step out. Sure. But it's BJ, it's BJ at Churchill. So
yeah, that was more or less the angle I was going at with that horse, was trainer and jockey. Race 9. This is the stakes race, right? Which one is this?
This is the Roxalana.
Yes. All right, Tim, you've got 2 plays on this one. We were talking about this in our pre-show fist fight here. I am excited about especially the second one here, but why don't you go ahead and walk us through both of them?
Yeah, look, one thing about opening night at Churchill is you got to look. So we're going to open on Saturday night, draw the Derby and everything, and then they're going to go dark Sunday and Monday. It's always weird to me that they do that, and of course they're going dark Sunday and Monday because then they're going to run Tuesday through Saturday and 50 Tuesday, Wednesday spelled WIN, Thurby, Oaks, and Derby. So all of those cards are jam packed, and so this is probably the worst stakes race we'll see for the week. And
probably
not that it's absolutely horrible, but we didn't draw, any of the big name horses in here. We've got some decent horses here, but it's an okay stakes. It's a 6 furlong sprint stakes here. So, but I thought the horses were kind of evenly matched when I started looking at everything and started going across at the favorites. And I think that also there's a lot of early speed in here.
Yeah.
So I was like, with all this early speed, I need to find somebody who I think is going to set off that and benefit the most from it. And to me, I just thought that the 6 was a standout.
Yep.
As a matter of fact, I told you earlier that I thought that that the 3 horse that we were talking about back in race 6, Holster, was one of my stronger opinions. That would have been my second strongest, and this would have been my strongest.
Oh, no kidding. Okay.
Yes. So I think Harbor Springs is a standout here. I absolutely love this horse. I think that the horse is going to win. Gets IRAD up for Greg Foley. Obviously, connections that don't come together a lot. But I'm just gonna take a flyer on this one here and what I think is an evenly matched field. But look at the works on this horse. Been off since February and has 2 out of the last 3 works have been bullets. 3 works ago was threw a bullet at Fairgrounds, then shipped into Churchill, had a nice maintenance 4 furlongs, and then came back with a blistering 46-4, best of 98 on the day on the 19th of April. So this horse is going to be flying late. And with all of the speed and with IRAD being a closer, I just really feel strongly about this one being a win candidate. So then, when I looked at all that speed, I was like, okay, then if the 6 is my horse, who's going to finish underneath? And you know what? Give me Eddie Keneally and Luis Saez, 2 guys right now that are pretty hot at Keeneland, bringing in a good horse here. Who look at this horse at Churchill, 5 races, 3 wins, a second and a third. So
I do have it as my strongest horse at Churchill, even though I didn't put it in my box. So I kind of went against my own philosophy.
Yeah. And at the distance, 2 wins in 3 races. So, I mean, there's a whole lot to like here and the connections. And, I just think that this is a horse, despite the layoff, I think Keneally can get him ready, and it's only a sprint. So I just think that there's the potential here for the speed to break down and back up in this race. And that long stretch again at Churchill and somebody to close up. So I'm gonna look for IRAD and Saez to bring me home with a $10 straight exacta, 6 and 8, and then I'm gonna take that strong opinion on the 6.
Here it is,
and I'm going to double down on the 6, moving into a $20 daily double into the next race on a horse that I absolutely love as a first-time starter. And it's Saez again getting up for Rudy Brissett. And this is another one who's working really well. $650,000 Keeneland sales purchase. I just think that this horse, the works say that this horse is ready to fire. 6 furlong race. It's a maiden claimer $100,000 race. So the fact that a $650,000 horse is on the auction block here potentially for $100,000, it's kind of worrisome a little bit. But I like the connections and the way the horse is working, and I'm just gonna. It's definitely taking a stab at something here. I see why the 3 is the favorite in there, and we'll talk about that when we get to the next race. But I'm gonna take a flyer on getting this double home with a horse I think is a strong favorite, and a horse that I think is a sneaky long shot play.
Yeah, that sneaky long shot. I agree with you. I mean, and I'm looking I do this with certain tracks. I would say Keeneland has been one of them lately, where I look at when they sneak in like maybe 3 firsters and maybe 6 or 7 second time, third time shooters, and you look to see like, okay, who pops out, and right away the 2 horse popped out at me, and I'm like, okay, this horse is going to be like 3-1, 4-1, and I look up 12-1 on Outdoor Cat in race 10. I don't think that's going to stand. I think that horse pops off the page for me too much. It popped off for you too much. Brissett, Luis Saez, Improbable the sire is a young sire, starting to get a little bit better. You start to see some of these Improbable horses get better. And like you said, this isn't like maiden special weight. This is a maiden race, 72K. I think this is a great spot for that horse. I know we're jumping ahead to talk about race 10, but I definitely didn't want to drop the fact that you are singling Outdoor Cat as the second half of your daily double there. But absolutely. I get it. I mean, it's such a smart play. That's the one that could bury me in Mortal Kappers for this week. That's for sure.
If it hits, that's one that's gonna, bring in a big payout.
That's going to be a big one for sure. So similar to you, Harbor Springs for me graded out very well. I decided to wrap Harbor Springs up in 2 10-1 long shots here. 2 that I really like. So you talked about closers. You liked Harbor Springs. I like Tripolina a little bit better as a closer. And we're talking about closers in a 6 furlong dirt race. But I think that something could end up breaking and happening here because we do have some horses that it looks like are a little bit hotter to the pace than others. So, we'll see what happens. But yeah, if Harbor Springs holds up, three wins in 10 races, 7 times in the money, I like those odds. Tripolina, I love the closing numbers on this horse. And for me, Lady Moscato at 10-1. I like the class that this horse has been racing in. We've heard this name so many times. When I heard Lady Moscato, I thought, okay, I got to figure out how to get this Dwayne Lucas horse in there because I have a feeling this horse is going to be winning something soon. Maybe it's this race. So I'm going to try to get a little bit of a piece here. I decided to take those 3 horses and say, let's get 2 of them on top. So there you go. $1 exacta box cost me $6. It's pretty cheap. But again, I've got 2 10-1s in there. So even if it comes back with one of those horses and the chalk, it's going to pay out pretty nicely here. All right, we're at our final race. As we said before, this is a maiden claimer, 72K. Let me check the distance real quickly. It is 6 furlongs. Yeah, and you're starting off with Outdoor Cat again. Let's hear about Outdoor Cat.
Yeah, I talked about this one, and just back to the comment you made about the line on this one when you saw how it jumped off the page. When I handicap, I use Daily Racing Form, for my PPs, but I go into my profile is I've got it customized to where I don't show odds when I handicap. So.
Okay.
So when I'm handicapping, I don't know what the odds of the horses are, and I don't want that to influence me. So I just handicapped it, and I was shocked when I turned the odds on, and this one was 12-1. I get Evan on Earth. I mean, I'm going to include that one, and again, I'm keying on top, and I'm gonna have the 2 to win, but I'm just gonna play against this 3. I think this 3. I told you I watched back both of those last 2 races at Churchill. There's no reason this horse shouldn't have won both of those races. So I just look second, has 3 seconds and 6 starts and a third, and maybe this is just one of those horses that likes to run in tandem with other horses, and just when another horse runs up, just won't run past them, and we see that from time to time, and this horse could definitely win and has a chance, but with those races and what I saw, I'm going to take a shot here at beating it with the 2. So that was one I had to include. I thought the one on the rail was really interesting. Getting Corey Lannery up here. This horse has raced twice at Ocon since coming back off the layoff here, dropping down into maiden claiming from maiden special weight the first couple of times out. The first race was at Churchill. This horse was definitely in way over the head in that one, but there are some big names in there. I mean, Campbell and Guns Loaded and horses that we've seen run back, Brodeur and that have run really well. So that was a really strong race with a lot of the horses coming into this year, but as 3-year-olds. So I'm going to include that one underneath, though. I think that this is one that for that last race, the flat 2 all the way around, decent speed figure. This one does have some early speed from the rail with Corey Lannery. I kind of think there's a lot to like there. And then one more, I went towards the outside. All the way to the outside, and Irving Moncada getting up for Tom Drury, and with our cocktail lounge, we followed Moncada through the Turfway meet, and he had a wonderful meet up there, led the jockey standings for a very long time before the usual just came in and swept away everything with the action. As he usually does, but Moncada's riding really well, and he has been, and he's still got a 5-pound bug, which not a huge difference in here. I don't like the horse for that, but I just think that there's enough here with this horse racing in a couple of lower level maiden special weights at Horseshoe, so nothing special there. But I just think that this is one that might factor in here in the money, because I mean, the horse has 2 races and both have been in the money. So, and if you look, even though this horse has finished second and third, I mean, the horse was odds on for both of those races. And so a time beaten favorite. So while I don't like this horse on top, obviously been taking better money. So there's something here that a lot of people have liked. And I think I want that one underneath on my ticket as well.
And I do want to point out that even though I say it's a trifecta key, you have a trifecta key box here. You are key boxing in Outdoor Cat. So Outdoor Cat could come in second or third here. I just wanted to state that for anyone who's watching and listening, because sometimes that does matter. And obviously with the price, that would make a big difference as well. Yeah, definitely matters. And I like what you said about Studeny. That's a horse, and I talked about this before with maidens. I've got this closer to the pace indicator that goes off for me. Four races, one time in the money for that horse. Not one that I considered here, obviously, but that indicator did go off for me. So this is a horse that you may have astutely added in. Maybe my indicator caught something here, but he wasn't ranked high enough for me to add him in. Regardless, our picks look very similar here. I just picked a different key. I picked Evan on Earth as my key. You pointed out that Evan on Earth definitely looks like a top horse here, getting sub 2-1 odds. So it's not like I'm picking a real risk here as my key. Maybe I should have picked something that would have been a little bit more risky. So in case Evan on Earth decides not to show up, I can get a better payout. Outdoor Cat, we both sung the praises of Outdoor Cat. All those workouts look outstanding for that horse. Vino Dominus, you just went through Vino Dominus very nicely. 2 times in the money in 2 races. Definitely like where this horse, the times that this horse has been running. I've got his last races being ranked pretty darn high, next to Evan on Earth and Studeny, ironically. And I also like, in terms of where he finishes, his median lengths, it's only been 2 races, are within 1 length. So he's been close. It's not that he's just finishing second or third. It's that he's also finishing really close to the winner here.
Right. So and one thing I meant to mention as well, Formula, and I'll just add in real quick. I like that they're throwing blinkers on to try to maybe get that last bit of focus in the stretch.
Yeah. Yeah. The last horse I have here for me is the 9. So this is the one that you did not have in there. I have the 9 instead of the 1. The 9 giving me 8-1 odds. So I've got my own internal power figures here. And this horse was like, along with the 10, second and first in terms of power figure and average power figure. So it's really close between those two. Obviously, with a short number of races, this horse has 10 races. The 10 has 2. But I took that in consideration. I thought, well, 4 times in the money for the 10, for the 9 in 10 races, 40% in the money. That's not too bad. The speed figures look good for me. My internal speed figures, they look better than the ones that BreezeNet provides me. And I do like the class that this horse has been racing in. So he averages out the last 5 at over 100K. So this is a horse that is definitely classing down by quite a bit. He's been doing maiden special weights the last 10 races. And now he's dropping down into maiden 72K, saying I'm ready at 8-1. Give me that value. Give me that 8-1 value on the 9. I will take it in a box. I mean, if I get 3-2-9, the order I got it written up in there, I'll be pretty happy with that trifecta. All right. All we have now is a summary, because this is 10 races. You can see we spent our $100. You see how we did it. I skipped 2 races. Tim, you skipped 4 races. You skipped the first 3, and you really loaded up on race 9. That's how we spent it. Go ahead and listen back to this to see how we spent it. If you wanted to take notes, if you wanted to copy what we did, best of luck to you. And best of all, have fun on Saturday as we open up Churchill Downs ahead of the Kentucky Derby. Man, get chills saying that, right? We are getting really close to this Derby. Any final thoughts, Riders Up, Tim, on your first Mortal Kappers?
No, I would just say this. I'm going to be out there this day. So I will be watching these horses in this card in person. I'm going to watch the post position draw for the Derby. And I think we might have a live reaction, and maybe I'll do a little live check-in from the track.
Awesome. Yeah, that would be awesome if we can get another live check-in from you. Tim on the ground at Churchill Downs. But yeah, so here we are, episode 4 of Mortal Kappers. Thank you guys for stopping in, and best of luck to you at the tracks.